Maybe you think you're too old, or maybe that it's more reserved for another style of riding than what you are into, or maybe it's just a trick for punks in the streets. Whatever the case may be, I believe that you should learn how to wheelie even if you never learn how to wheelie. So come with me, we're gonna ride some trails and I will explain. So I get it, for many mountain bikers, the juice might not be worth the squeeze in terms of the dedication it takes to learn how to wheelie. Because wheeling is hard, it's not easy, it takes a lot of repetition and a lot of trial and error, and actually the benefit of learning how to wheelie, even if you never learn how to wheelie, is in the error of the process. For instance, you might feel like you are constantly faced with failure. And by definition, a wheelie is maintaining the front wheel in the air while you pedal. And because you're likely not keeping the front end up for any length of time, you are failing, you are not wheeling. However, it's undeniable that what's going on is the fact that you are in a zone of discomfort. You're out of your comfort zone when you're learning how to wheelie. And the more time you spend on your bike outside of your comfort zone, the more a part of you, your bike, will begin to feel. You will start to become comfortable being uncomfortable. And there's tremendous value in finding comfort in being uncomfortable. It applies to any skill, virtually anything you do in life. The more comfortable you are being uncomfortable, the more successful you will be, because, you know, I can speak for myself. Anything that I've ever accomplished in my life, the things that are the most meaningful, are the things that have the most history of failure behind them. This is all leading up to the point that I'm going to produce a series of videos on simple skills that you can work on that are relatively safe, that will cause you to experience nothing but constant failure. However, that failure is going to teach you something completely unrelated to that skill you are working on. And you know, as I mentioned a few moments ago, this video we will discuss the idea of failing trying to wheelie and the value that that can bring. Now, this is not a how-to wheelie video. I already produced one of those, and I will put the link to that video in the description below. However, this video will be me recognizing the likely stage that you're at in your failure and how it's really not failure. So here is the likely stage that you are at. Get the front wheel off the ground, and you can't keep it off the ground no matter how much you pedal into it and you build up speed and the front wheel just keeps coming down. And that's where you are, you're stuck there over and over and over again. You just can't get to the balancing point. You can't maintain a controlled speed. So perhaps it looks something like that, right? You're just chasing the wheelie, you're chasing the front end. And in your mind, you're a big fat failure. You can't wheelie. The truth is that you can wheelie. You just haven't wheelied yet. Anybody can wheelie. It's not determined based on how much muscle you have or how tall you are or whether you were born with a tail or not. But that's not the point. The point is the beauty in the failing. What you are actively doing when you're out here trying to wheelie and you are actively failing is that you're actually building up all these micro muscles in your body. You know, the muscles that you don't go to the gym to train, but the muscles that will have a huge impact on how your riding feels. A beautiful thing happens when we come out here and we just goof around on our bike over and over and fail over and over again. And that beautiful thing is the bike suddenly seems like a part of us. It starts to feel light. So many mountain bikers just get on their bike and they pedal it and they push through rocks and stuff. And you're always at a point where you feel like you're riding the bike. And you don't recognize that there's another level, another stage, another experience where the bike feels like a part of you. And the reason why that happens for younger riders is because they are willing to go out there and fail at doing silly things like wheeling, right? Maybe that's not enough for you. Maybe that's like mental BS or, you know, like deep thought BS. But you want something that's more like a tangible skill that you learn from all your failure. And that's what I'm going to talk about next. You have now the ability to drive with your legs and unweight your front end. You can get that front end off the ground, and because you've been failing so much, so frequently, you're a master at least getting the front wheel off the ground in control, right? And you can pedal into it. It's not just a front wheel lift like the onset of a manual. The difference between a wheelie and a manual is a wheelie is pedal driven. A manual is really momentum driven, but you are still able to keep yourself balanced on your rear wheel with the front end off the ground. Both are very practical skills on the trail. Both are hard skills to learn. But let's look at what you've learned failing doing the wheelie with your pedal power. You're just kind of a pedal masher. You just want to go out and collect miles. But your local trails have like rocks and stuff or little tiny features that just kind of trip you up each time. Maybe they make your Strava lines slower, or maybe they just make you get off and walk, or just make you uncomfortable. Such as this rock right here. So this is a gentle climb and it's turny, so we can't carry a lot of speed into this, which means I can't really like pop a strong manual to get up over this. So a lot of people without like proper skills, what they'll try to do is just power through this. Powering through this is gonna look something like this. The camera's covered in ants right now. I'm not sure if you can see them. So that was a little uncomfortable. You know, I was going kind of slow. And I was really forced to kind of like drive and pedal my mass through it. Maybe I'll try it with a little more speed. So we're coming through here with speed that we think the trail offers. And then we're presented with this and we're gonna power up over it. And we definitely get stuffed up, right? We get slowed down, our momentum gets shifted, it gets stopped, our body weight gets tossed. Instead, what I would argue is the better techniques, because again, we are climbing gently, is the technique we kind of mastered with the failure of our wheelie. And that is the pedal, we'll call it pedal-induced front wheel lift. So here we go, I'm coming in, maybe I'm riding the trail blind, but I'm looking ahead and I see that, but because I'm climbing, I know I have a skill that I can get that front wheel right up over, and it goes right up over, and because I have that front wheel lift technique from my failed wheelies, I can just lift it up and drop it on the backside, which helps pull me over the feature. So I can vouch for it, and maybe you can see on video that just that front wheel wheelie lift to get over this rock made it so much more smoother for me. It was a smoother experience. It wasn't hard, it wasn't dangerous. So I know what you're saying. You're saying, Josh, that's a front wheel lift. Coaches will take you out on the trail and teach you that all day long. It has nothing to do with wheelies. The problem is the average person doesn't have that opportunity to practice that in their driveway. Failed wheelies you can practice all day, every day, in your driveway, anywhere on the road, in a parking lot. You name it. Second, front wheel lifts for a certain level of rider might be a little scary, because what happens is if you come up short and you're just practicing and you don't have like that pedal initiated wheelie skill yet, if you come up short, you're gonna kind of get stuffed. You know, you're gonna drop in hard on your bars and you might slip a pedal. Trust me, I've been there. So again, the point of the video is you go out and you fail doing wheelies, but you've just learned a skill that you can immediately apply on the trail. And it's gonna make you a better rider. Failure will always make you better. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Real sharp, like shelf type rock here. But because you are a failed wheelier, you got this wheelie right up on it and continued pedaling right up over it. So as you work on these techniques, realize too that you need to time your pedal motions so that you don't pedal clip, so your basic understanding of pedaling through terrain applies. What are we gonna do here? I'm gonna fail a wheelie right up over it, dig deep to keep our wheels going. Another one, failed wheelie, right up over it. So if you like this sort of content, make sure you hit like. That way it promotes it to other people outside of my subscriber list. If you like this sort of approach, this positive approach to failure and how you can apply it to the trail, make sure you hit subscribe, because I got a ton more videos coming that they're all based on this same concept. You guys are rad. Peace.